When Helluva Boss came back with Season 2, the last thing I expected was controversy, at least not surrounding what people are complaining about this time around. The biggest of which is Stolas and Blitz's relationship, and whether or not it was retconned or something to that effect. This is a bit of a broad issue, so please watch the video until the end before casting your votes in the comments down below. Now, the key claim for fans is that the revelation that Blitz and Stolas knew each other as children is too surprising, and that it was something thought up much later in the show's development, possibly even after Season 1 was finished being written, and essentially, this retcons the beginning of the show. Now, retcon or retroactive continuity is when something is retroactively added to the show in one way or another. A pure retcon is one that has something on-screen accepted as fact being contradicted on-screen later, not the changes to a story as it develops from one season to another or from one episode to another. While I have seen some fans point to certain evidences that not only is this relationship not part of the original plan, but that Stella has been retconned to suit it, this video will not just be examining and debunking those, but talking about the bigger issues here. When Stolas is first introduced, we don't really know much about his and Blitz's relationship. All we know for certain is that Blitz slept with him for access to the human realm, after which he escaped, but fell into Stella's little tea party, and revealed to her that Stolas had cheated on her. The pilot is something a lot of people debate the canon of, and I will have a video about what I think of as canon soon, but for here, the pilot is what I call second level canon. Second level canon is usually a term used for spin-off materials like comics or books, where the story wants to be seen as canon, but could be contradicted by the show later, and the writers who don't want to be held back by the spin-off material and the stories. As for this pilot, it's all stuff we know to have happened unless contradicted by future development in the show. For the most part, this was just visual changes, updated character designs, and background stuff being changed to better suit the ongoing lore. Character interactions, relationships, and major events have all panned out to be things that happened on the show. Even in the new episode, the crew was careful to bring back Stella's exact party guests. They have their own little updates like other characters do, but are clearly meant to be the same people, connecting the scenes with the original pilot, but with different set dressings. The biggest of these changes is actually very important to the plot, this of course being the not divorced party banner hanging on the balcony that Stolas rips off as he tells his wife he wants a divorce. To me, this does seem to be an addition, but not one that even says that this party didn't happen in the original story, just one that adds to it for the point of a joke. I had even speculated in the past that Blitz did end up meeting Stolas at a party, though I imagine that he didn't sneak in the way he did here, but instead was able to get in through his celebrity connections such as his sister, Fizzarali, and even his love life with Verosica. Regardless, if this was a change that was developed later, it doesn't seem inorganic, nor does that mean that they waited until Season 1 was finished to start working this into the characters and their interactions. At whatever point it was decided that Stolas and Blitz did know each other from their childhood, it was decided that it would be a reveal instead of something shown up front, and thus some level of secrecy would develop around it, with hints starting to be weaved into the story beforehand. Looking back, I would say that Stolas' sense of familiarity and Blitz's sense of disinterest both make a lot more sense, not just because they knew each other from childhood, but because of the actual interactions it inspired as adults. Suddenly, having Stolas use pet names on Blitz despite being just one night makes a lot of sense, as does the absolute fixation Stolas has with Blitz. With that in mind, I may be wrong in that it was a later development at all, and not something they were fully aware of in the pilot. While Stolas may seem different here, a lot of his behavior can be written off as different voice actor interpretations, possibly even being part of the reason they recast him, to better capture his history with Blitz and interactions. Blitz originally appeared in the Has-Been Hotel pilot, and from what I understand was meant to be a part of a gang of imps down the street that stirred up trouble for the Has-Been Hotel. Stolas likewise seemed to be one of the Overlord birds you see during Vaggy's montage, which was changed from the preview to the actual pilot. As Has-Been Hotel developed, VivziePop realized the show had too many characters, and the stories of these imps and this bird seemed to come together in such a big way that it made sense to give them their own show when they needed to create a spin-off. With just how far back these characters reach, all the way back to the Has-Been Hotel pilot, I would not be surprised if part of the reason she spun them off into their own show was because she already knew she'd have long and intense backstories for these characters interacting over time that would interfere with the Has-Been Hotel story to some degree. The point is that some of these ideas develop over time, some date back to the very beginning, but even when something is a bit unexpected at first, it doesn't mean it isn't cohesive to the big vision, even if it's something added a bit later. The key to VivziePop's creativity is that she gives you the story from a very specific angle. Anyone who has watched the show has seen how little pieces are given to you first, almost out of order, because Hell is written almost like a mystery, where the secrets of the world as a whole unlock where the story is going on the smaller character level. In this way, VivziePop's creative style resembles that of the theosophical works of Madame Blavatsky, which compare the similarities across various religions and build up its own narrative based around them, with the direction that you read the book being important, and circling back to the beginning, giving you even more insight into what's going on and the little details that seem out of place. We live in an era of shows with hundreds of episodes, and no reason to rewatch them even years after the last time. However, Helluva Boss has people watching it over and over and over again, appreciating it on different levels each time, as they not just get deeper into the lore or deeper into the real-life mythology that inspires the show, but deeper into the show's culture as well, which is a good segue into the next topic, Stella. Now, a lot of fans who think that the show is being retconned are pointing to Stella in particular, saying that she is written purposefully different in order to make Stolas seem like a victim and make him lose any guilt for cheating on Stella. Frankly, Stella's revelations don't feel forced to me and actually fill in a lot of blanks. While Stolas does want to calm down Stella in episode 2, by episode 5 he has clearly given up. He's still seeing Blitz, and Stella is planning to have him assassinated at the dinner table. This seemed jarring to me, not how angry Stella was, but how casual Stolas was about it. This entire episode, especially his public flirting with Blitz, all just makes more sense knowing that he did in fact demand a divorce off-screen in the pilot. Even in episode 2, all we really know about Stella is that she doesn't want to take care of her own daughter when she has nightmares in the night, and has no problem yelling about her marital problems in front of her in excess. Stolas doesn't try to claim he's trying to make things work or get back together. At best, he seems to be trying to explain that it just wasn't about imps as a whole, but he doesn't really get a chance to say much of anything. Some fans have pointed to this picture of Stella in the background with Stolas and Octavia at Lululand, and I even saw it discussed in my Discord server. Critics say this proves she loved her family and wasn't as mean to them as she seemed in the season 2 premiere, but this seems like the most begrudging smile a character could ever have. She's trying to hold it back because she is so mean all the time that she doesn't want them to think that she could be happy for even the happiest moment of their family outing. She just barely looks fond of her child here, let alone Stolas, and this is such a big deal that it had to be turned into a portrait. Beyond that, it's a little background art. I'm sure VivziePop oversees these to make sure nothing is contradictory in them, but I doubt she's explained the nuance of Stella's and Stola's relationship to everyone in every department as early as episode 2. Finally, in regards to culture, Stella's character is one that is familiar to those in the fandom who watch the other works of the creators, not just VivziePop, but also Brandon Rogers. Brandon Rogers stars as Blitz and is also a writer on the series alongside VivziePop, embracing his trademark style. His style tends to be wacky, fast, chaotic, loud, and is best seen in the Helluva Boss pilot, where we are constantly cutting away to different scenes and different flashbacks within flashbacks, all for one big crazy story. A lot of characters begin as simple archetypes that Brandon Rogers and his fellow castmates would adopt in the various skits on his channels. Characters with the least on-screen development tend to get the most attention from Brandon Rogers and the other writers who may be emulating his style in different stages of writing and revising, as his comedy fills in the gaps, which are perfect for adding a laugh between the more serious aspects of story, lore, and character development, creating a very harmonious balance based on need. Stella in particular uses Brandon Rogers' style the most, after maybe Wacky Wally, with Stella just being an evil villain and admitting so in a way you can hear Brandon Rogers' voice doing even if he didn't write the exact line. She may still develop a deeper motive, but it isn't retconning her character or her show, nor is it bad writing. It may go against what you call the rules of good writing, but anyone who has studied writing knows that the reason you are taught the rules is to figure out how to break them. That's why our entire pop culture is built around subverting expectations based upon these rules. VivziePop and Brandon Rogers are well practiced at what they do, and they are so good at breaking these rules for storytelling that they have garnered millions of fans who love them for just that. I do hate Stella as a person, obviously, but I absolutely love her as a character and look forward to just seeing more of her being a crazy freaking bird. She is a well-written cartoon villain, and I'm tired of pretending she isn't realistic. I'm tired of pretending there aren't people like this in real life. It may not be as layered in a way you particularly want for some of your villains, but that doesn't make her poorly written in the way she needs to be written. Stolas and Blitz's backstory may not have been perfected in the pilot, but its bigger plan, the themes, they all make more sense knowing that they had a history dating back to their childhood. Stolas' obsession, Blitz's casual nature, even the way that Blitz could have walked away but chose to come back and sleep with Stolas. It all feels really obvious to their characters looking back at it, and if it wasn't something that they had originally intended, it's something that makes sense as they developed it. But these are just my opinions. Leave yours in the comments down below, and while you're down there, please don't make fun of how funny my voice sounds. It's the end of August, and allergies are in full swing right now, so I'm just doing my best. See you guys next time.